Welcome to Facing the Shadow Tarot. These readings are not about comfort. They're for people who can sit with discomfort and still choose truth. This is shadow work. Take a breath with me for a minute before we begin. The situation card is light, and that's not accidental. Light in ancient symbolism is illumination, revelation, truth exposed. In numerology, light here carries the vibration of 19. 1 plus 9 equals 10. 10 reduces to 1. 1 is initiation, beginning, self-awareness, conscious leadership. This reading is about awareness rising, but awareness is uncomfortable before it is freeing. The overall energy is hope. Hope is not wishful thinking in ancient traditions. Hope was considered a spiritual discipline. In early Christian mysticism, hope was not passive. It was the courage to face truth because you believed something better was possible. Light and hope together tell me this is not destructive energy. This is purification. But purification requires exposure, so to speak. Now, the message card says an enemy. An enemy. And I need you to hear this clearly. Not every enemy is external. In ancient divination systems, including early Mesopotamian omen reading and even later Hermetic philosophy, the enemy often symbolized an unconscious force, a pattern, a habit, a shadow trait. Sometimes the enemy is a person. Sometimes it is the part of you that refuses to look at what needs to be looked at. But this enemy is clarified by cleansed. That tells me something powerful. This is not a battle you lose. This is a battle you outgrow. To be cleansed spiritually has always meant to separate what is true from what is false. In ancient Hebrew tradition, cleansing rituals were never about shame. They were about preparation. Before entering sacred space, before stepping into blessings, before receiving favor, you had to remove what contaminated clarity. Now, look at the trauma card. Shovel. That is not subtle. A shovel digs. A shovel unearths. A shovel uncovers what was buried. And that is clarified by baggage. Stored memory, old wounds, secrets, half-truths, toxic residue. Water in trauma readings often represents emotional memory stored in the nervous system. When we bury trauma without processing it, it doesn't disappear, it crystallizes. In psychology, unprocessed trauma sits in the body. It shows up in decision making, attachment style, business partnerships, friendships, intimacy. So when I see light, hope, enemy, cleansed, shovel and baggage together. This is a lesson in spiritual maturity. You are being shown something that needs to be excavated, not to shame you, to free you. Because here's the danger. If you do not dig up what was buried, the enemy hides inside it. Unprocessed trauma attracts patterns that mirror it. Ancient diviners understood this long before modern psychology did. What we refuse to confront repeats. Now, I want to bring numerology into this. Light is 19 in this deck. Hope here is 17 in this deck. 1 plus 7 equals 8. 8 is power, authority, mastery over material and internal forces. 8 also represents karmic cycles. What goes around comes around. But when mastered, 8 becomes infinite balance, the infinity symbol. You are in a karmic turning point. If you dig, you break the cycle. If you don't, the pattern repeats. The enemy card does not mean panic. It means discernment. It means asking, where am I ignoring my intuition? Where am I overlooking red flags? Where am I bonding through familiarity instead of health? The shovel is your responsibility. No one else can dig for you. But here is the beauty. Hope is the overall energy, which means the excavation leads to light. The cleansing has already begun. Some of you are already feeling it. The discomfort, the restlessness, the awareness that something you thought was fine isn't. That's not punishment. That's awakening. In ancient spiritual traditions, shadow work was initiation work. You descended before you ascended. You entered darkness before you emerged in clarity. That's what this reading feels like. It feels like you are being called to examine your attachments. Examine your partnerships. Examine the baggage you are still carrying. Because prosperity, love, connection, spiritual alignment, none of it can root deeply in soil that still contains buried debris. You know what I mean? And here's the part that matters. The light is stronger than the enemy. The cleansing is stronger than the baggage. Hope is the overall energy. Which means this excavation is not to destroy you. It is to restore you. If you do the digging, that is. If you separate truth from illusion, if you allow light to expose what your comfort tried to protect, then what comes next is not betrayal, it is alignment. And alignment changes everything. Sit with that.